on this episode 109 of the podcast. I'm going to talk about 23. Yeah, last time we talked about 22, so it's 23 this time. Anyway, let's get into it, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Luke Who's Talking podcast with me, Luke. How you going out there, everybody? Hope you're doing all right. So, yeah, in this episode, I'm just going to muse over some plans, if I could use that term, some hopes, could be a better thing to say, for the forthcoming 12 months. Yeah, I think one thing is probably more important to me than the rest. Because I feel that if I get that right, get that progressing, other things will fall into place. I feel that that's somewhat the king of the situation. It might not be. I might be building it up. Anyway, but before we get into those things, let me just say I hope everybody had a good Christmas or holiday period, whatever you want to call it, and also New Year. Now, on New Year's, I'll just share this briefly with you. I went to Beer Fest, which there is more than beer there. But anyway, I went to Beer Fest, which is down at the waterfront near the city. Could you say it's not in town, but when town is not very big, and you like, if you're a block out of the CBD, right, you're still in town. Anyway, so I was down at Beer Fest, and it was all right. I had an all right time. There was a lot of people there because it hasn't been on. Was it on last year? I can't remember. I went 2020, or 19 into 2020. I went then because, I might not have been on last year. It might have been. I don't know. Anyway, I went and it was a nice time. It was a good time. And I was in a line waiting for food, and I had a conversation somewhat in depth with somebody, but I think I'll talk about that on the next episode, so it's a tease for you. Anyway, hope everybody had a good Christmas and all that jazz. Quick jingle, and we'll start getting into some things for this forthcoming year. So one thing that has been a reasonable constant, I would say I had a decent job in 2000, before 2020. Until maybe halfway through 2020. I was I was working at a local radio station, and I think it was fair to say that I was good at the job. I felt that I could do the work. The workplace was a bit average. Anyway, I was there doing my stuff, and that ceased to exist for various reasons. Well, actually, because of one reason, I think you could say, but, anyway, that doesn't matter. So that dried up, that stopped. And since then, I've not really been doing much with myself. I was just sort of helping a friend of mine's husband, who's an archaeologist, with a couple of things, but that was not really going to be a long-term sort of thing, I don't think, really. And then earlier this year, I had a brief stint somewhere, and it didn't really work out, which I think I'm okay with that, because, I just think it wasn't for me. I think that the particular, I think was more, what I was doing, I think, is more of a hobby for me, not good to be mixing that with an actual job situation. So I think that's that. Now, that got me thinking sort of middle of the year, coming into the later half of 22, what am I doing? Where, I'm not really going anywhere. I'm good at complaining about that, but not good at taking action on things. So I thought to myself, what is something that seems interesting, right? So when I was younger, I always thought that we would watch shows, grand designs, all those sorts of shows. So I would think that being an architect was an interesting job. But when I was leaving high school, etc., the idea of going to uni and doing, I think it's at least 4, I think it might be 5 years to get the degree, was uninteresting to me. And even now, it's still also like, no, that's I'm not into that. So I thought, well, what is the same but different in a way? So I got in touch with design architecture places around town, just asking for some advice. One place actually was very kind enough to, the manager got in touch and was actually kind enough to invite me to their office, and I had a talk. It was only like 15, 20 minutes, just like a casual chat with the manager about things, and he was like, we could do this, you could do this, you could do that. So that was really good, actually. Some places didn't even get back to me. Some places took a couple of weeks to get back to me, but I thought that was really nice. Just look, hot take. If somebody sent you an email asking some questions, maybe for some thoughts on something, I think you're an attractive business or organisation if you reply back. And I think because I got a reply back from one of the particular businesses, and the manager was like, hey, coming in for a chat, that has now got me into a thought process of like, I would like to work at that business. So hopefully, if what I'm about to reveal in a moment goes well, I think we'll seek to gain some sort of employment at that particular place, because I think because I've at least done that, I feel that I feel that I need to offer them myself. I don't really need to, but I think that could lead to something. Anyway, right. So, what is the same but different as being an architect? To me, is doing, being a draftsperson is a similar thing, but it's different. You don't particularly design anything if you're a draftsperson. Architects, engineers design stuff. What you do in that space is create technical drawings, record keeping, etc. And the particular manager that I was talking to, he said, people don't really, people want to be architects, right? For example, nobody really is interested in being a draftsperson. So as a result, apparently there is a shortage of good draftspeople. So hopefully I'm going to start going back to school, and I think in February, I'm actually not 100% sure, but yeah, I think that's about right, mid to late Feb. I'm going back to school, and I'm going to do I think it's a Cert 4, Engineering Drafting it's called. So I'm intrigued to see how that goes. It could be it could be like awful, but I think that it is, because I don't think it's a particularly hot take. It could be. If somebody thinks this is a hot take, let me know. But I don't think it's particularly too much of a stretch for me to say that I'm somewhat very mildly creative, or one of those sort of people. So hopefully I can get into it, learn skills, learn the software, etc. Maybe get in touch with this business that I had, I was able to see the manager with sometime. Say, hey, maybe I could do an internship there, right? And get some like in-work sort of skills like that, and hopefully that can lead to me getting my working life back on track, because I feel that is a key to my existence. And then, hopefully other things, because there are some other things in my life that I desire, and I feel that if I just get I feel that if I can get the whole working life on track, these other things will sort of fall into place. This could be an absolute fantasy land thought, but I feel that that could work out for me. Hopefully it will. No doubt I'll be giving you updates on that in the future. Anyway, I started talking about this at like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, whatever, into the show, and I thought, this is going to be a short episode. And now here we are. It's like we're nearly 11 minutes in. Jingle, and I'll get back to you with a couple of more things. I'll just go over briefly that I hope to continue to do this year. So one thing that there's a couple of things that I hope to maybe start again. Something I hope to start and something I hope to continue with. So we'll get into the starting again. Now, one of those things is journaling. I would journal probably about once a month, but in the last 2 years or so, I haven't written in my journal at all. I haven't written it for a long, long time. So I think starting to do the journaling again is something that I should do. So, yeah, starting to because then if I fill up my journal, I get to get a nice new journal. And also my pen. So I bought my journal and I bought a nice Parker pen, a Parker Jotter. Now, when I bought my Parker, it had blue ink in it, and I was not happy about that. So if I use my Parker, which is my journaling pen, in my journal, I will run it out of ink and I can go and buy a black refill. It all works out. So journaling, maybe starting some streaming again. I don't know. This setup, so I've got my boom arm here. It does block the screen a little bit, so that could be interesting. I have thought about rejigging this slightly and moving my screen sort of to where this camera is over to here a little bit. And sort of angling it like that. I'm not really sure. But ideally, it'd be nice if I had a little bit more space here. So maybe a possible streaming return. I don't know. That's like a bit of a question mark on that. We will see. Now, something else I hope to continue to do is, of course, do this podcast, do the Luke Who's Watching podcast, and, of course, keep making videos for Luke Who's Vlogging, which I have about 3 videos planned for that. So one is quite honestly one I probably should have done already, but a while ago, Black Friday, I bought one of these, the Rode Wireless Go. You can see here on the screen. So I was just going to do like an unboxing and a little bit of a test of that. And I had recently been mountain biking, so that's probably going to be 2 videos. So I've got at least 3 videos for Luke Who's Vlogging coming up. Hopefully, next Friday should be the first one. And also something I'm hoping to do, which will also probably then roll into content for the vlog, or video content, will be I want to get myself an old bicycle, so probably mid to late 90s, early 2000s road bike, and strip that down and rebuild it. So probably maybe early February. I'm not sure. Maybe after I start school. I'm not really sure. But I'm going to get in touch with the local, bike collective. There's a bike collective. It is down south. I have got a bike from there before. So I was going to get in touch with them to see what they have, and maybe I could get a bicycle off of them. But, I'm looking on Facebook, good old Marketplace and Gumtree as well. But I thought maybe if I get one from the bike collective, it will be, I do have to drive like 2 hours though. That's the thing. It is down south in the capital, so that's a bit. Like the guy there that I dealt with was very good. They had quite a few options. So for what I wanted, so I could get in touch, see what they have in regards to road bikes. A frame would be fine, or something that is like they've had donated to them and haven't done any work on. So I could probably get something down there pretty cheap, is the thought. So as opposed to maybe buying something off of Gumtree or Facebook. Anyway, so a rebuild of that is something I'm hoping to do. Yeah. Anyway, everybody. Yeah, I'll get into wrapping it up. Well, thank you everybody for listening to the podcast. A lot longer actually than I thought it was going to be, especially like at the start. I thought we're going to get through this like quick as, but it has escalated. Yeah. Anyway, everybody, thank you very much for listening. Share the podcast, like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, all that sort of stuff. Now, do you actually listen? I'm sure I've used on this briefly before, but I do not listen to any podcasts I am not subbed to. Actually, maybe I might listen to one or two episodes, and that then escalates into like listening to heaps, and you're like, I'll just like subscribe. So if you're not subscribed and you listen to this like semi-regularly, why are you not subscribed? Please tell me. Anyway, everybody, thank you very much for listening and all that stuff, and and for watching as well if you're watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. I always struggle. It's like, how do I end the podcast? I don't know. Just end it.